Hi, everybody, and welcome to another UTS Startups Confessions. You may have noticed that we are in a different location, and we've also taken a little bit of a break from Confessions while our normal space, Startups at Central, is undergoing some really exciting renovations. But we wanted to bring back Confessions this week for a special edition during Climate Action Week. So if everybody could put your hands together to welcome our really special guests, Jami from Deep Green Biotech Hub and Jami from Stoke Bites. Amazing, thank you for joining me, Jami and Jami. So today we're spotlighting a really exciting program which focuses on algae-based innovations and startups. Before we dive into any questions, could you both introduce yourselves and share what sparked your interest in algae? Jami, do you want to go first?
Yeah. Hi, everyone. My name is Jami, and I'm the manager of the Deep Green Biotech Hub, and we run something called the Green Light Accelerator program. And my interest in algae was first sparked when I was diving and I was learning about the symbiotic relationship between algae and coral, and it blew my mind. I thought it was beautiful. And then since then, that kind of exploded into all these different areas of work and of pleasure, just understanding more about how this organism can help us create a more sustainable, long-lasting future for ourselves.
Yeah, incredible. And what about you, Jami?
Yeah, I'm the founder of Stoke Bites, which is a health bar company incorporating algae in it. And I discovered my passion for seaweed is when I realized that seaweed offsets carbon emissions 5 times more than land-based plants. And I realized the potential of if we grew more seaweed in the oceans, then we could potentially offset more carbon emission. And I'm a surfer, so obviously I have sort of this intrinsic desire to keep the planet healthy because we want to have good waves and clean waves. So yeah, it really came from my love of the ocean and surfing and the desire to just keep our planet healthy.
Yeah, incredible. Jami, so algae isn't something that people generally think about on their daily lives. Can you tell me what's so special about algae and why is it something that you've been exploring?
Yeah, it isn't something that we normally think about at all, but maybe we should, maybe we could. Using algae, we can create things using atmospheric CO2, as Jami said. So we can make any petrochemical-based product using, or we can substitute any petrochemical-based product using an algae-based product, except for glass and steel. They're the 2 things we're still working on, but maybe one day we'll be able to make them too.
So you can do stuff like plastics and biofuels.
Yeah, biofuels, exactly. Fabrics, there's endless things that we can do with algae. And that is because algae is a photosynthetic organism. And contains within it special proteins, lipids, and oils. There's 2 different classes of algae, I should mention. There's microalgae, and we have a few samples here today. And then we also have macroalgae, so things like your kelps and your seaweeds. Each kind of strand of algae having different compositions of these special proteins and lipids, and some are better suited for making different things. But all of them can be grown on non-arable land. They can be grown within wastewater, so you don't even need clean water to grow them. Algae actually loves that wastewater because it will soak up all of that nutrients. It will use a bit of sunlight, it will use a bit of that CO2, it will build biomass. We can collect it and then make all sorts of things, practically anything. So that's pretty exciting.
Yeah, it sounds incredible. It sounds like a great opportunity. Can you tell us a little bit about the Green Light program and what it offers to startups working within algae and biotech innovations?
Yeah, so the Green Light program is a 13-week program for specifically startups and SMEs that have an algae-based idea. We take these ideas and we accelerate them through to a prototype at the end of the program, hopefully, that's the goal. And we offer all sorts of support. So we'll pair each of our businesses with a scientific mentor, so an expert in the algae space. And then we'll also partner them with our business mentor, Jane, who a few of you may know from UTS Startups. And we'll also provide our businesses with $10,000 of seed funding, so non-equitable, non-IP shackled seed funding to help you on your way towards that prototype. We also offer, a whole range of different things as part of the program, so I definitely recommend giving it a bit of a Google search. Google Deep Green Biotech Hub, Google Greenlight. It will pop up and explore all the different things that we offer as part of the program.
Fantastic. And what types of businesses typically apply or go through Greenlight? Can you maybe give out some standout examples?
Yeah, there's been so many people that have come through and created education programs or have created beautiful food products, nutraceuticals, air filtration devices, food dyes, like fabric. There's been so many. And we'll get to hear about Jami's product today, which I'm excited for. And then there was also people who was part of Jami's cohort, and they were on their way to decentralizing fuel for remote farmers. And they did this their plan was to grow algae on site of the farmers' sites, and then convert that into biodiesel that could then be used to fuel their equipment, farmers' equipment. And it was great to watch them kind of progress throughout the accelerator program, and they developed their pitch, and then afterwards, just more recently, they've won the South by Southwest pitch award, which was really exciting. And we've also had Jolene, is an amazing woman. She came to us with her sea health products. So that's another food-based algae product using kelp. She's since won the Churchill Fellowship. She's part of the Homeward Bound Women's Project at the moment. And she's just a legend in the seaweed farming space. And yeah, we definitely need more of that right now. So there's been lots, and I'm excited to see what comes through this cohort too.
Incredible. So Jami, you're the founder of Stoke Bites, and we have some Stoke Bites product samples here actually. You did the Greenlight program. Could you tell us a little bit about what your business is and how are you using algae?
Yeah, so Stoke Bites is a health energy bar, which is a combination of like dates and peanuts or cashews, apricots. We have a couple different flavors, and we incorporate a seaweed extract called agar within the bar. And sort of the story behind this is I got into surfing about 3 years ago after a long journey with my health and having to sort of revamp my health to eat really healthy. And then I got into surfing and was looking for something to fuel my surf session in the morning or before or after. And I didn't like what was on the market. So I was like, I'm just going to create one. And I wanted to create something that not only fuels your surf session, but when you get that feeling like getting a really good workout or getting out of the ocean or like a really good sort of time in nature, I call that the Stoke. And like I wanted to package that up and put it in a bar so that people could eat it and experience like a joyful experience through eating the bar, but also do something that's good for the planet. So we have incorporated agar into the bar because I wanted to incorporate something that was going to give back to the planet. And we also have recyclable packaging as well. So it's really taking into consideration sort of multiple aspects of the consumer experience, which is not only taste and feeling, but it's also impact. And that's like kind of what I wanted to do. And then also, like I was just telling Gemma, I wanted to start a new startup in like a space that I love. Like, why not do a health bar that's about surfing so I can like surf all the time? So
two birds, one stone.
Yeah, exactly.
Amazing. And so can you tell me about what inspired your the rationale behind incorporating algae and what impact that has?
Yeah, I think, like I said earlier, because I'm so passionate about like the environment, and I'm sort of realized along my entrepreneurship journey that I'm passionate about business solutions to social problems. So I had a non-for-profit, which was amazing, but I realized the power of actual like business and funding and investment to create change as opposed to creating something like a nonprofit, which is very valuable in some areas. But I was like, oh, if you build a business that makes a positive impact, which generates income, which then people invest in, which will then help the planet, that's so much more sustainable than what I felt like I could do with my non-for-profit. So it was kind of born out of that passion of business solutions to social problems. And then I kind of combined that passion for health and the ocean. And honestly, I don't know how the idea came, but it was ChatGPT and me one night, and we were just having a chat and seaweed came up. And I was like, that's a great idea. So thanks, ChatGPT.
The best business partner.
Yeah.
Amazing. And let's take a step back, and can you tell me a little bit about who you were before Stoke Bites and how has your background kind of shaped your startup experience?
Yeah, so crazy story. I actually had chronic fatigue syndrome and chronic pain for 6 years, and I recovered sort of about 3 years ago. And so my first startup was called Chronic Hope, and it was based around helping people living with chronic fatigue and chronic pain. And we developed a water bottle, and we launched a Kickstarter, and we developed this whole product, which was a water bottle with a twist-off compartment on the bottom where you could put medication and supplements. And what I realized through that process was it was a bottle that was generating income for the non-for-profit, but then it was also helping people because people were able to kind of take their supplements on the go a little bit easier. I used to put it in a plastic bag before I had my bottle. So it was really born out of like part of my recovery journey was surfing and the healing power of the ocean, and then obviously nutrition, and then a desire to make a positive impact because I had been through something so challenging, and then another desire to like help the ocean. So there's quite a few layers as to why I've started this business. And then part of it as well is I went through such a challenging season while I was sick of like chronic pain, depression, anxiety, and all of these things. And I came out of that and I'm a totally different person now. And I wanted the next season in my life to be about fun and about enjoying life and coming out of the darkness. And so, yeah, Stoke Bites is really about like spreading joy and fun and a love for the ocean and good food and that sort of thing. Yeah.
What a beautiful story.
Yeah.
And it really shows, how all the things that you've kind of experienced can help mold the different elements of your journey to where you are now.
Yeah.
Great. And so you've actually gone through the Green Lights program. I just wanted to ask you, what was your experience like and how has it impacted what you've done with Stoke Bites so far?
Yeah, so I loved going through the Green Light Accelerator. I handed over my business, my non-for-profit Chronic Hope, to someone else, and then I went through a bit of a year or two of just working full-time, which was great. Got a little comfortable in my cushy IT job. So when the Green Light Accelerator came up, it was really good because I had been working on Stoke Bites for a year already, but I was like needed something to kind of push me to actually get the ball rolling again. So yeah, I applied, and then the Green Light Accelerator is amazing because not only did they provide resources in terms of funding and workshops and accountability and business mentorship, but they provided sort of a space where I could just really thrive. And like, I needed to talk to Jane every week and her to be like, what are you doing? You need to, I know she probably didn't even need to tell me to do stuff. It was more like the fear of God, where I was like, if I don't get this done, she's going to get on my case. So anyway, we got things going again. And yeah, it was a really good program, as well as a scientific mentor where she was able to answer a lot of my questions around like the impact of seaweed on the environment and why it's so important and all that sort of thing. So yeah, and then just the support and yeah, just weekly check-ins. It was amazing. It was so fun.
Oh, amazing. Sounds like a fantastic program.
Amazing.
Can you tell me a little bit about what you've been doing since Green Light and how has it impacted your progress so far?
Yeah, so Green Light, I think what I've been doing is so this is my second startup, so I've learned a lot of lessons from my first, where I decided to work on this one a bit slower and set things up properly, because the first thing with my first startup, I didn't do things, I did things well, but it wasn't like set up properly, good systems, good documentation, And so I've decided to really put things in place so that everything's set up well, so that when we launch, we can scale if we want straight away. So we'll be ready to ship out to shops and all these things. So really since then, it's been about we found a manufacturer. I found a fulfillment company that we're working with. I found a package designer who has worked with companies like Remedy Kombucha and all of that. So I really wanted to do things well. And so we hired the right people, and we're setting ourselves up to sort of hopefully come out with a bang. Mm-hmm. And we're going to be doing that next month, launching next month.
Exciting.
Yeah.
Launch next month. Wow. And throughout this whole experience, has there been anything that's surprised you or any challenges that you weren't really expecting?
Oh yeah, the seaweed. The seaweed saga. I had to change seaweeds like 3 times. So that was a really big challenge. And I think one of the struggles at the moment with like the Australian seaweed climate is that it's not as developed, which is obviously something everyone's working on, especially this program is really part of that. So we locked in a seaweed and then couldn't use that seaweed. And then we locked in another one, couldn't use that seaweed because there was a crustacean allergy warning on it. And then I had to find another seaweed. So I think I've had like three different seaweeds that we were going to use. So that was probably my biggest challenge in the whole journey of like, there was even a moment where I was like, I don't know if we can use seaweed because this is so hard. But we found something that works. And that was, I think it was a good example for me of like just pushing through when you keep getting these barriers. Yeah. So.
Yeah. And it's also kind of a comment on where the industry is right now. It's quite new, but it's still like, because of that, it's such an exciting space where, you know, you're really able to be some of the first startups to do these things. And even though Australia might be catching up a little bit, Jami, you probably know a bit about this a bit more, but we're still kind of like trying to get to the place where maybe America is in the industry, which is why it's such a great opportunity right now for startups to start to focus on this.
Yeah, exactly. I think like the EU and America, they're way ahead of us. But we are making active moves and to help progress the industry. And as Jami said, like it is so important that we have people at all different levels, at all different business like sizes and scales to move into this space and really show that it's worth investing in. Because honestly, like it really can do anything, and it will, in the end, help us reduce carbon emissions. So I think it's important to invest in and keep pushing through. And yeah.
And I wanted to add that as well. There's the carbon emission benefit, but it's also 10 times more nutrient dense than land-based plants. So that doesn't apply to Stoke Bites because it's an extract that we're taking. But in general, seaweed's 10 times more nutrient dense. So the power to like create change it's a healthy option for people. It's iron dense as well, so it can be a source of iron. So there's so many benefits on so many levels to seaweed that's what I'm excited about, to develop products in the future that really highlight those nutritional benefits as well, because it's just such a product that can do so many things. And that's if you kind of look at like, you know, the different superfoods that have kind of happened, like acai or matcha or whatever. I personally think that seaweed is kind of on the up, and that's where I want to be right now, is on the beginning of a product that's in 5-10 years time everyone's going to be talking about, you know.
Yeah, and what's so exciting is that it seems like it's a bit cyclical. So the more there's demand for algae, the more it's grown, the more environmental impact it has, and it just continues and continues. Yeah, it's really exciting. And so just coming back to Stoke Bites, what are your goals for this year, and what's your ultimate vision for Stoke Bites?
Well, the goal for this year is to launch obviously in a month and get into surf shops. So if anyone knows a surf shop, let me know, because I really want to establish the bar as a surf brand. It's a niche in the market at the moment that no one's really tapping into. You go into a surf shop, they're not selling bars on the shelf. So I want to establish ourselves as a surf brand, get into surf shops, build our B2C selling, and then obviously get into Coles and Woolies eventually. I don't know if that'll happen this year, but and then eventually my ultimate goal would be to take the product to America and start selling the product there, and then create more products that are around seaweed and all that sort of thing. So yeah, we'll kind of just see how it all plays out. But for now, it's going to be really focusing on like that surf industry for this year. Yeah.
Amazing. And right now you have 2 products right now. So it's the peanut butter and...
Yes, so we have a peanut butter chocolate chip flavor and an apricot cashew flavor. And yeah, it's going to be actually square, the bar. So it's exciting. Yes.
Okay, can't wait till it comes out and for me to try it once it does. So just looking back on your experience, if you could give advice to yourself at the very start of your journey, what would it be?
Yeah, I actually thought about this question because I was like, there's so much I feel like there's so much business advice out there that I'm not going to give business advice. I'm going to give like more of a personal thing, because I had a really good chat with my therapist like 2 months ago. And I was just telling her about how I have this drive to build my business because of a fear of having nothing in the future. Because when I got really sick, I couldn't work and I was in a place where I didn't really have much. And I was just saying like, oh, like it's what drives me. And she was like, Jami, like I'd really encourage you to separate your fear of having like, you know, you're not getting your needs met from your startup. And I guess like for me, that altered my brain chemistry, because I was like, that's actually a really unhealthy place to come at building a business, is like from this place of like fear or need or lack or whatever. It can be a driving factor, which is not necessarily a bad thing, but I guess I wanted to bring something fresh to the conversation, because I think if you're a new startup founder, like really looking at why you're doing it. And I find that when I've taken the fear out of it, I've been able to make more measured decisions. I've been able to take really healthy risks, as opposed to being driven by something that's like quite intense.
Yeah.
So I don't know, I wanted to bring something a bit fresh to the conversation, because I don't know if people really talk about the mental or like emotional side of like being a founder. And like a lot of founders that I've kind of talked to have some sort of unhealthy drive, and I'm guilty of that. So it's like, you know, if that's you and you're listening to this, like really encourage you to like, what's driving you? And that can be really good to have that. Like, what's the good side of that and what's the bad side of that, I guess.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm sure lots of founders in this room and online can relate. Being a founder and having the bravery to do that is often a mental game, and you're kind of battling all of these things. So your desire to succeed, but then also having to question what it is that's kind of motivating you on those times where, you know, you're knocked back a bit, and what'll keep you going. So I think that's like such a beautiful thing to bring up, and absolutely also based on your story with chronic illness and the kind of resilience that you need to be able to go through that and continue going. So yeah, thank you so much for that and for sharing. So Gemma, I just wanted to bring it back to you and ask you about the Green Light program. So I've heard a lot of amazing things. It sounds like there's so much opportunity within algae and algae-based innovations and startups. Can you, for anybody who is considering applying, can you tell me about why they should join and how they can do that?
Yeah, absolutely. First of all, I love hearing about where Jami was at, because we saw each other outside and I was like, don't tell me, I'll wait till we can be up here and both hear it, or I can hear it. So yeah, if you're looking to join the Green Light Accelerator program, as I said, just Google us, Deep Green or Green Light Accelerator program will come up, and then submit an expression of interest. Expression of interests, they close on the 22nd of April, so we've still got about a month, just over a month to apply. We'll set up a consultation with you where we'll just chat through your idea, chat through the application form that you'll need to submit. And then we'll have an independent panel review all the applications, and we have room for 4 businesses. So we'll choose 4 businesses, and the program kicks off in July.
Okay, fantastic. And what type of stage startups do you accept?
So as I mentioned, like it can be startups, one person, or it can be like SMEs that want to explore a new idea. But we are looking for people just with ideas and moving them through to a prototype.
Okay, fantastic. And a final question for both of you, since this is a special Climate Action Week edition of Confessions, how important is sustainability and climate action to you personally?
Yeah, massively. So Jamie and I, yeah, we're both in the sustainability space, and I think it's been, it's an underlying value system I think that we both share, and so it is kind of embedded in a lot of the decisions that we make. So yeah, hugely important.
I just want good waves all the time, you know, like that's my goal. Keep the waves good. No, I'm kidding. Also the planet, but I'm like, we got to protect the oceans.
For sure. What is one thing that you would encourage the viewers or attendees here to do that could potentially have a positive impact?
I think my answer is going to be twofold. The first one is, I think, support people that are working really hard in this space to make things better, give us sustainable products. Yeah, they're doing such amazing work. And I think personally, also, we have an election coming up, so just vote for climate, stay politically engaged, have discussions, don't alienate people with different ideas, and stay hopeful. And if you lose hope, take heart in these amazing people that are doing amazing things to help make the world a little bit better.
I think for me, like with that whole journey, I think it can be really overwhelming when you think about climate change and all of that sort of thing. And like, you feel like, oh, yeah, at times for me, it's felt like a lot of pressure to like buy the sustainable thing and do this and, you know, always tick the airline thing that's like offset your carbon emissions sort of thing. I think what I've learned is like focus on what I can do that's in my capacity and not try to worry too much about what's beyond my control. And I think for me personally, it was starting this business and like, okay, well, that's what I can do. I can incorporate, you know, something that's helpful for the environment into my business. And then there's things that I can't do because I can't be everywhere. So I think focusing on like the small ways that you can make an impact is so important. Yeah.
Yeah, incredible. Thank you so much both for sharing. It's been so lovely to talk to you. If anybody here has been inspired by what we've discussed and has an idea for an algae-based innovational startup, whatever stage you are at, please look up the Green Light program or search up the Deep Green Biotech Hub and get in touch. But for now, what we'll do, so thank you for anybody who is watching on the live stream. We'll be passing on to an exciting Q&A where we here in this room can ask Gemma and Jamie any questions. This is a great opportunity for us to get together and ask about, you know, more personal questions about the startup experience. And it's a reminder for anybody watching on the live stream to come by next time we have Confessions in person so you can join. But for now, thank you so much, Jamie and Gemma, for chatting to me. It's been so lovely. So everybody, thank you, Jamie and Gemma.